You thought I was going to fight. Ha! I was showing you menus, David.
Damn it.
So I will tell you, this is Jeff.
This is David.
Hi, David.
Hi, Jeff.
Did you know another NiOh game came out?
I was aware, yes.
I really love NiOh 1.
You did.
I played the crap out of NiOh 1, and you also played a little bit of it as well.
I played it for a bit, yeah.
We did some co-oping. This is the sequel, NiOh 2. I want to talk about the UI just a little bit. Being a person that makes game stuff and works in Unity, and UI is a constant thought in the mind at all times. This game has the most UI, and the design seems to be, everything is pleasant, so it's not like it's an eyesore.
Right.
But the modus operandi, so to speak, seems to be put all of the options in there and show all of the numbers all the time if people want it.
Okay.
And since video games are just showing numbers, I put on a lot of numbers.
I can see that, yes.
Well, a brief overview of some of the numbers that you can get in this game. I mean, this tier, just the standard UI that's going on here, we have, you're in the lower left corner, it's giving you an indication of you have skill points available, your shortcuts, what your shortcuts, like I have a shortcut, fire Omnio spell, cool, cast it, no big deal. My stance switching, of course, is on the lower right, and which I can also sheath, so that if I'm using I can do EI attacks since I have a sword, sword equipped at the moment.
A wooden sword, apparently.
Yeah, specifically for the proficiency bonus, but a different number I'll mention in a second. So I've got my Emerita in the bottom right corner. I've got my Sin, that is to say my money, SEN. If I hold down R1, I get this cool little shift display where I can change my main weapon and my side weapon with rifle. What are these called?
Flintlock rifle.
Yeah, but the Japanese name. I feel like I should remember since I've been playing it.
Tanegashima?
Tanegashima.
Yeah.
Right. Hold on, let me a little bit to check. Tanegashima. Matchlock. There we go.
Woo!
Very good. Yeah.
Thank you, Soul Calibur.
And this is a possessed weapon, so it has a little bar underneath it in the corner, of course, naturally. Mini map in the upper right. You've got the health, the stamina, and the anima bar, and you have, your spirit buddy, which you can use when you're in yokai shift form, which is not like it was in the first game. I've put on the numbers for all of those. So the anima is for your guardian spirit core attacks. You get horns hang up here in the upper left. Circle for burst counter, which, David, burst counter is probably the most video game name for a thing I've ever heard.
It's actually called burst counter?
It's called burst counter. Using the anima charge, angle, and square attacks, which are there's also equipment, right? So if you want to see your equipment, you can lock your equipment.
Bar?
Familiarity bar is telling you how familiar with the weapon is. Press the start button, you just get this cool overlay. It tells you, so like this one here, the melee damage. If I get the familiarity all the way up, I can use this as a fusion material at the blacksmith, and this will be inherited into the new weapon, much like it was in the first game. But the sentience bar is a new thing for this game, which means that it enters an awakened state, which is completely different than your yokai shift state or your guardian spirit state. And then sometimes when you kill things with a sentient weapon, it talks to you, and it records the things that it says to you in the background tab of the Amrita memories, so you can go back and play them at any time. So if you want to listen to what your swords have been telling you, like, what if we wanted to learn a new skill? Well, that's fine, because everything has its own sphere grid now. Our guardian spirits are over here, and they have all of this going on. Have attunement limits now, that is the managed soul core. Soul fusion, though, take a second one, and it can inherit the effect. Let's say you have a whole bunch, and you want to get real specific.
Holy crap!
Then this level, I don't think that's necessary. Important because it's the attack relative to the core, and then the cost is how much anima it costs to use it. But the attunement, I wanted to get inky, and I wanted to put it onto the Masaru, break them down into pieces, which go into soul fragments, and the soul fragment level is how you get shiftling points, and the shiftling points on the shiftling tree, because in this game you don't get generic skill points, you get tree-specific skill points by doing things in that tree. But only how much you need for the next level. You know exactly which stats are being improved by each of these. There's not enough numbers. Hold on. There we go. It's just the prostrate. I want more numbers. These are your core stats. No big deal. All of these numbers make sense as an RPG.
Right.
Here's your status for all of your proficiencies for all of your skill trees, and how it started with the switch glaive in the bottom left because it's called Switch Glaive. Your armor pieces, all of your bonuses, all put into a list. It just straight up tells you, oh, that's what that means. I went to a hot spring, and then it's giving me a bonus. Prestige titles, much like NiOh 1, where you can get prestige points, and it's like Expert Bowman, defeat 50 humans with an on top of everything else progression system. Achievements for like beat boss without getting hit.
What?
How much damage did you do?
Is this?
How much damage did you do in the high stance?
What is this?
I've done 489,000 damage in high stance. Killed from behind 4 times. Highest quality materials gathered is 100%. What does that mean?
I don't know.
Many enemies have we fought times they've been awakened, and also the thoughts that we've read. Distance traveled with a Scampus. Now Scampus is great because if you go over to the
he's a rabbit with a cat. You mixed them together.
So you find these guys in the missions, and you pet them, and the petting animation, by the way, is mwah.
Okay.
Skill customization if you have more than one skill. So that's only half the menus because I'm in a mission.
What?
Technically, we're playing the game.
Okay.
We've been playing the game, David, for 15 minutes already. And this is a high-stress action game, as you can tell.
I'm so confused.
My whole point in this is that the UI is very, very complicated.
Uh-huh.
But it is very rewarding to know all of that is there. Like, you don't have to know how much damage you're doing in high stance, but that it's there is kind of cool.
Right.
When it says basic game settings, I don't think it understands what that word means because there's a lot of them.
Oh yeah, basic game settings should be like 5 or 6 things.
So when you start the game, it gives you the actual basic settings of like, do you want to invert your controls or brightness? But then it's like, do you want to set basic game settings now? And I was like, yes. And then this happened, and I was like, no, I don't want to do that yet. But now that I'm here, I was like, okay, I do want subtitles. Okay, display headgear. Sometimes I want to see my Kodama bowl. Sometimes I don't. But then a lot of these are very cool quality of life things that make a sequel better.
Right.
So like skipped watched movies. If you're co-oping, and assuming that the person who's watching or who is assuming you're in expedition mode instead of doing a visitation mode, in which case there is a group dynamic. If you've already seen the cutscene, or if you're fighting a boss the second time, auto skips. It's like, oh, that's great. Automatically use acquired locks of hair. Locks of hair are, of course, special items you can get in the game that give you skill points for certain trees on the skill tree.
Oh, right, yeah.
Instead of it just being an item that you have to consume, which I assume you just kind of ball it up and then swallow it, I guess.
Oh,
and
Jeff.
then become infused with the
you
the
use
skill.
it as a charm, or you sacrifice it with fire. You don't eat the wad
maybe you
of
burn
hair.
Well, we will never know for sure. And this is also where I was able to turn on all these the gauge values and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
It has settings in here for like color blindness, settings for rarity. You can auto like ignore certain rarities of weapons and whatnot, which is more of like a Diablo thing because this game also has. I turned off. Loot comes out of everything. I did turn off the auto lock camera switching thing because I found that kind of frustrating. Same thing with guarding. So whenever you're locking on or guarding, your camera is not going whoop every time you do that.
Okay.
This is my lady.
I can tell you're not playing as
William. At least
William.
at the moment. I'm not playing as William, although because I have save file from NiOh 1, we actually can play as William.
Oh, nice.
Let's just do some fighting, and then look at some more menus when we get back to the world map.
Okay.
Because this game is extremely complicated. The story is complete nonsense. Doesn't matter at all.
Okay.
Like the character creation is extremely robust, which I'm very happy for. But it also has the problem of you just have a mute character. It's like, okay, we need to stop doing that in video games, honestly. But
right. William could talk.
But I digress. Yeah, William could talk, and even though he didn't talk very much, it is better when your character can talk, because now it's just you emote. Anytime someone talks to you, you just stand there blankly and then show them your sword, which has a glyph on it. And like, okay. Or sometimes you'll just be like... the emotes are still pretty good.
That's really good. It's not as ridiculous as the Monster Hunter monster just being like, huh? Hey, you can shimmy.
That's still very good.
Okay, what is that?
What is that indeed? So I'm using a wooden sword because you thought I was going to fight. Ha! I was showing menus, David, on my sword here. I've maxed out the familiarity with it. And the proficiency bonus increases the weighted proficiency that I gain. Like I said, I recently switched over to sword, so I want to get my sword skills to where I want them because I have most of what I want for the sword at the moment. Let's see over here. Whereas just getting the EI strikes, quick draw strikes off the side. I do like haze, which is the parry, but I don't need that right now because I'm fighting a lot of yokai enemies. Don't really parry them as much anyways. The stance switching is still there from the first game, so mostly mid stance is going to be defensive, and if I do a key pulse, I can get a auto block for one attack, and low stance is going to be for quick dodges, and then high stance is going to be for damage, but for the most part I'm going to be switching back and forth using key pulses between mid and high stance in order to get defensive and attack bonuses. And let me see if I start with the backstab. Boop! Got him.
That's still in the game. That's good.
Yep. This game is extremely hard, David, and you die all the time.
Yeah, it sounds about right.
Most of that is because the you have when you take health damage, you basically just die, and yokai are extremely strong. So let's fight this Inky over here. Do a burst counter.
Ooh, nice.
So he's almost out of key. Okay, that is a grab attack, so I need to get out of the way of that. Okay, he's out of key, so we're gonna just keep beating up on him. Make him fall down, and let's bring a Tingo in here. Let's get a...
Can you time blocks, or...?
I don't have that ability.
Oh, right, that's the parry thing.
I almost lost on that one, but that's okay. There we go. One of the reasons this game is so hard is because, like I said, when you take health damage, you almost always take fatal health damage. It's like 50 to 100% of your health. But there's also a game where blocking is always 100% effective.
Right, as long as you have the key.
As long as you have key, blocking an attack will only take it out of the key, and the key will, regenerate faster based on stats, based on if you're doing pulses, which you should be doing pulses. In this case, key pulse is you just tap R1 whenever you see the little particles come up around you, and then your key recovery goes a lot faster. This is the same as it was in the first game, and then also I have since gotten the abilities so that I get key pulses when dodging, so I can just do this instead of having to key pulse manually. And then also if I switch stance on a key pulse, I get bonus key back. So by switching back and forth between this into high stance to do a combo, one of these, and then back into mid stance, keep the combo going, you can keep your combos going for a long time. As long as you're keeping in mind that your openings are very dependent on the enemies and their own key, and it is very complicated. So it's very satisfying to get correct.
Right.
Shot that guy in the face.
I think you got him. Yeah. Oh, I don't like these. Wrong one.
Yeah, I'm trying to aim here. I thought I would be able to shoot him a little faster, but that's okay. All right. But I don't want to fight two at once, not really.
So even the little
Use
guys
magic.
are dangerous?
Yeah, anything can kill you. Okay, jumped over it. Okay, we'll be fine. That's a paralysis pool. Not so bad with just one.
Right.
Okay. Ran out of his key and knocked him on the ground.
Okay.
I mean, those guys are like the basic imp enemies.
Okay, real quick, just so I think I understand. The purple bar
Okay.
under your key,
Yes.
that is your, like, transformation
Anima
power.
gauge.
And-
That is my Spirit Guardian magic, which is used for burst counters and my specials.
Okay, so the red one costs 6? That's what the 6 next to it means?
Yes.
Okay.
I need 6 anima points in order to use the Yoki counter, which I can try out if I just find another dude to stab real fast.
Well, he's
I think actually this is going backwards.
Yeah, you burst countered twice, didn't you?
I did burst counter twice, but that's different than the square there.
Oh,
so the square
okay.
attack is the spirit core that I have equipped, which we go here. You
The Yoki Soul Core.
Well, yeah, okay, yeah, it's the Yoki Soul Core. You can see down there.
Yeah.
This is the one where you can play the little video there. He comes out and he just grabs. If it connects, it just kind of does like a cool little attack, and then it does damage. That's the one that requires 6. So I've got 11 because you do get a lot of it back for doing successful burst counters. You need for a burst counter, which in this game is just where you rush forward, although it depends on the type of. So you see, I'm using a feral form, not a brute form, but there's also phantom form. And each of them has so there's the 3 archetypes of your shiftling mode, yokai form, and each of them has their own combos, which is great because it's like having a devil trigger, which you didn't have in the first game because you would just use the guardian spirit would come out and it would do a special attack, or it would infuse with you, but it wasn't really like demon mode, devil trigger, this kind of thing going on here with the horns and whatnot. That being said. The 100 above the Spirit Guardian means that I can use the yokai form, and then in the yokai form, if I use the Spirit Guardian special attack, then the Spirit Guardian special attack will actually be used, and that's the only time that will actually come out.
Okay.
So Anima Gauge is for special moves from Spirit Guardian, but the Amrita Gauge, which is at 100 now, which is different than the Amrita Counter, which is used to level up, is telling me that I can use my Yokai Shift ability, where I get the special effect and I turn into a demon mode, and then I'm invincible, but also if I take damage, it lowers the. Anyways, I'm not really invincible. Well, I'll see if I can work that into this fight here. This is just another one of these guys.
Another ape.
Boop! Ah, he sliced me. I want to do a burst counter to start this off with to get a free combo off.
Right.
I didn't do the double dodge. Needed the double dodge. The dodge when you're in mid stance is a hop and then a roll. But if you're in high stance, it's just the roll. So you have to remember that the timing in between the dodges makes you vulnerable.
Okay.
Okay, that burst counter did not connect. Okay, there I did the double dodge properly that time. Let's use our mode. That's our mode. Oh, he died. Now we'll use our guardian spirit. Go! Punch monkey! Punch him! He killed us. Because I thought that he was dying, and that was not true. He in fact killed us. which brings us to a slight complaint I have with the game. I like the idea of skill trees being. Oh yeah, it's very, very dramatic. I do enjoy the idea of having your abilities tied to specifically using them. It's like Final Fantasy 2 for some reason. But for your shiftling abilities, which, it's basically just like, do you take more damage, less key damage when you're in Dark Realm, when you have shift mode on? These look pretty complicated.
Yeah.
But it's fairly straightforward, like, as far as, like, here, you get a water element effect when you use attacks in your shift form. Like, okay, sure, whatever, that's fine. I'm not at a point in the game where I need to worry too much about elemental damage, aside from don't use fire on the thing that's made of fire. So, other than that, you're pretty much good. The thing is that you have to be able to practice in order to be good at something. And this is a game where you have tons and tons of attacks all the time on all the nine different weapons. Each has 3 different stances, and they have their own entire skill trees. And you have special moves, and you have spirit core moves, and you have shiftling moves. But the thing is that once you use that shift, it's just gone, and you have to build it up again. And it builds up pretty slow, and it's kind of. You don't get enough of a chance, I feel, to actually learn how to use it, because I just want the Devil Trigger mode to just be an invincible win button that happens once every, 30 minutes of gameplay.
Right.
That is not the case. You kind of have to be on... he just kind of cut me there. Okay.
Oh, weird.
So what is he gonna do? Okay, kind of half and half on that one. Let's heal off of that.
Right. So you can only do the burst counter when he does the burst attack.
No, I can do it at any time. It requires... it just requires 1 point of anima to do that, so I can just do it now. It just uses 1 point of anima.
Oh, okay.
The feral form is you only get the counter if the attack hits your after image. That's the special effect for the feral form. It comes out quicker, which is why I like it, but you have to wait for the attack to have active hit frames in order to have it connect. As you can see, it can do both, where I got hit by the attack, but then it also connected with a after image anyways.
Okay.
Which in the brute form, it's considered a interrupt. So you have to use it when the red effect is happening. So you have to be very quick on the uptake.
Okay.
So and I don't actually have a phantom form yet, because I've only played the game for like 10 hours. So that's like nothing. And while I was talking, I kind of forgot where that Inky was.
The one you were trying to kill?
Fighting earlier.
He's down, not that path. Not that path.
This one.
That one.
And then...
You've got the one Enki.
Yeah, and then there was that one, which I don't want to fight. I just want my stuff back. Okay, I'm gonna ignore these guys for now. I think he was over here.
Yep. Do you have to kill him to get your stuff back?
Yeah, I wonder where's my little dude? Should just be around here. Was it? Oh, it was dropped in this room. Okay, because that's where I fought him. Okay, we changed.
Right.
Okay. Thank you, loyal monkey friend. So yeah, my gauge is down to 3, and I can't use that particular form until it gets back up to 100.
Right.
So that when you have a resource like that you can't use frequently enough to get good at, I tend to just forget to use it, or maybe I'll just like use it once on a boss after I've already died 7 times, and then be like, okay, I think I can probably get to the kill this time. Otherwise, it's useless, because it's not like you're working it into your strategy unless you're already very good at the game enough that you know that, okay, at this exact moment I'll have this gauge charged up, something like that, etc., etc.
Right.
Let's go back to where we were. I'll just ignore some of these fellows.
Hi, fellow.
Okay, no worries. Also, I'm doing less damage because I'm using the wooden sword, but I actually think that's mostly fine, just because it doesn't hurt to get better at reading the enemies and whatnot.
Right. Oh, hi.
Okay, that was a little bit of both on that one. Let's heal. Let's heal. I thought that was a block, but okay. There we go.
Nice.
All right. Stabbed on the ground. Let's do a full high combo. Risky, but it was enough. All right.
Ooh.
Hey, dropped a soul core. So
Nice.
each enemy in the game that's a yokai has a soul core, and there's like a percentage drop. It's basically Aria of Sorrow. So
Yeah,
I'm into
okay.
that.
I assume you're
Where
playing
it randomly
offline?
drops, and then I think I am only because it was in rest mode earlier, and then now it's
okay.
it's offline. But then I can go back to online mode when I get to the
main map?
There's probably an option in here somewhere, honestly.
Right.
That'll switch me to online mode again.
I was just asking because you passed by a remnant, and I wasn't sure. Like, since you're offline.
Oh yeah, the graves. Actually, yeah, maybe they are still here. I don't know if that one is a one that's in the game already. Normally there would be a lot more of these. Hey guys, trying to grab the screen. It's up there.
Oh, that looks... That's not the best polygon, but...
They added benevolent graves in addition to bloody graves. So the bloody graves are caused by players when they die or are placed in the maps like this. You summon them in, and you can get a Choco Cups, which you use in order to do the co-op stuff, and also just pieces of their equipment. The red ones are NPC, like red phantoms, based on the equipment of the person that died at the time. So it's like asynchronous PvP style.
Yeah, right, so like it was.
The benevolent graves we'll actually get to once I get back online. I think it's pretty cool. It's a new system, but it's basically a way to have co-op with basically the pawn system from Dragon's Dogma.
Oh,
which, again,
nice.
I like Dragon's Dogma, so I'm okay with that. Let's go fight a well-endowed snake lady.
All right, that sounds about right for this game.
These are a little difficult. No, it was too early. This doesn't look good for me. Okay.
Okay,
everything's
she
fine.
took way too long
We're
to
gonna retreat a
kill you.
little bit. Yeah. Okay, all right. So she has two different red attacks. One's a little bit faster, and the slower one is the Gorgon Gaze. There we go.
There we go.
She almost has her key out, so I just need to do... There we go. All right,
Nice.
gonna have a counter. I think we can finish... Nope. As a little... poison pool. She's almost dead,
Yeah.
but hubris is happens to all of us.
Yeah.
Okay. Whew. All right. Just a regular enemy, but
Right.
the fights are always... They can always go bad unless you're paying attention.
Clear.
Button mashing
Clearly.
will not work. It will not work.
You
Don't
can't
do
just spam R1.
Actually, I think there's some folks here that can...
Nice.
I think there's one over here, too. I can see the little icon. Can I get a
Looking
headshot?
for a
Can I
red
get a
dot,
headshot?
right?
Oh, I see a red dot.
Oh.
There we go.
Nice.
This is the first mission. The main missions are also very long, like, especially the way I like to play them, which is, get all the stuff, right?
Yeah, look around.
Play like a Dark Souls. You open up shortcuts, you get back to shrines, the enemies respawn, except for some of them don't respawn, like the ones that are in Dark Realm yokai pools or whatever. And
Right, the ones you
there's a whole
summon
bunch
in.
of... Yeah. So that whole process takes a long time, so I actually don't expect to get anywhere near beating this level,
Right.
which means that if I want to show the rest of the stuff, I'll just hop back out to the world map in a second,
Okay.
because, I imagine this will take a lot longer. But once you know what you're doing, you can also just run past things, which is also, I feel, very important to a good Souls-like experience, because I want to fight things. I don't want to corpse run.
Right.
Let's try a little bit of... I wonder how far she'll follow me if I have time to switch my weapon up. So I do have this sword, but I also have this Seething Dragon. This is a Switch Glaive, one of the new weapons.
It looks really cool.
And high stance is just a freaking scythe.
Mid stance is a glaive. What is it for low stance?
It's like a little... It's a folded up glaive.
Oh, nice.
So the abilities I have for this is I can switch stances if I time it right at a combo. So if I'm in high stance and then I switch to mid, I do a mid hit. And then if I'm in mid, I can switch to low and I can continue and then switch to mid. And then as long as I have ki to do that, that's a little bit harder to pull off because you're not ki pulsing in between, which is what I prefer. Usually just start with a medium and then ki pulse into high damage stance.
Right.
And then you can go into low stance, I guess, if you really want to, just because you can get your ki back faster. So I don't know if that particular style is something that I'll stick with, but you can cut that guy up.
Wow.
And let's see if we can... Dang it, I thought I waited long enough.
Okay. Yep. Nice. Ooh.
Whoop. Come at me. Boop.
Nice.
Much like a good, like any good Souls-like game, there is no cheese. There's only victory.
Amen to that.
So shoot people in the head. Shoot them in the head with arrows and bullets and sacred arrows and sacred bullets.
Okay. Do you get
use your
cannons
Amyo.
again?
Yes, there is a spot for hand cannons. Although,
hey.
sneaky.
Sneaky snake.
So let's try out my own advice.
Oof.
That's the edge of the arena.
Yep.
Let me make sure I get back to the right spot here.
You don't have any bullets.
I did run out of bullets, but I got arrows. I got sacred arrows too.
Nice.
They're pretty good.
Yeah, that seems way more effective. Oh, you got a soul core.
Got a soul core. You have, and unlike, let's say like Bloodborne or something, where your health vials, your blood vials or whatever, is something you have to farm for. It is true that you have to farm for elixirs in that, well, it's true and not true. You have a base amount of elixirs you can always have that you regain, but then there's like a maximum you can get.
Okay. So it's a blending
my
of the
maximum
two.
is 8. Yeah, it's like a maximum is 8. So that's how many I can carry without, I can't just have 30 if I find them.
Mm-hmm.
But depending on, how many Kodamas you save in a region, the minimum goes up based on where you are in the game, which is another great way to incentivize collecting the little collectibles and the sides and stuff. You're like, you can get more elixirs. There's just a lot. There's a lot going on in the game, but I'm gonna have to leave this mission because we're definitely not going to be able to get all the way to a boss fight at this pace. The boss fights are also so. I mean, I've only done like 3 or 4, I guess, but they're so far they've been great. I've just been like, yeah, it kicked my ass a few times, yeah. But then eventually you get it. It's 3. Okay, you start recognizing the moves. You develop a little bit of a call and response. And then the time you're successful is when you have no health left and you're desperately just throwing rocks at it to get the last 5 health down. Because you're like, I am tired of this. Please be gone.
Right.
So, it's like an ideal experience in a lot of ways. Let's see. Divine Branch is the one that I can just use at any time to quit to the main mission or the
right, it's the
world
dark
map.
sign.
But then, and then the Divine Branch version is the one that I can use without losing the
homeward
Amrita I've
bound.
corrected. Yeah. Well, this is like a super homeward bound because it is mission based. So I'll just use this because I have one. Because why not? Like whatever.
Right.
Leave the mission, return to the starting point. That is fine. That is what I would like to do. I will show you some other things that I think are extremely awesome about this game.
Okay.
And
like
a lot of they have to do with the UI.
What was that thing called?
The what?
The
Scampus.
Scampus.
I have to show you the Scampus.
That's just okay.
So this is the second region. As I said, I just started this region. Much like in the first game, you have. Let me actually connect online here. All of the online stuff is great, but we'll go to the starting point. So this is where we have a bunch of our new menus we could explore.
Right.
It's like we can go to the dojo, which of course is for practicing, which is great.
Right.
Which this actually does. I guess training ground is probably what I would want for this, although I haven't done that one. So that might be a way to actually get in some more reasonable practice for the rarer effects like your shift form.
Mm-hmm.
But these also unlock skills on your skill tree, so it's worth going into them. The way of missions specifically.
Right. And those unlock
just
by
like
leveling up?
Yeah. Those unlock by story progression. So eventually, the people that teach you are in the dojo. Like I said, it's not like you find them. It's just like a text screen comes up, like a visual novel, and it's like, "I've been following you, and I am a master of the sword. Would you like to learn?" It's like, "Yeah, sure, it's fine. Doesn't matter." As far as I can tell, also this is technically a prequel, but it's still Warring States period, right?
Right.
So I thought it would be kind of lame that it's a prequel, but it has almost nothing to do with Neo 1 other than you're in, Sengoku era Japan.
Right.
And you're fighting, yokai, and you have Amrita as your resource, spirit stones and whatnot.
All right, so it's not like William and
Here's
all
the
that.
thing. Yes. What I can tell is the only reason that this is a prequel is so that they could have human, alive, young Oda Nobunaga, which I assume is the design decision for every single Japanese game. It's what time period do we set it in? Is Nobunaga going to be alive, or is he going to be a dead spirit that we can still technically have in our game?
Right.
So, in Neo 1, it was more of the Nobunaga, he is in the game. I think his introduction is actually pretty cool when you actually get to him.
Right.
Timeline-wise, he's long dead, so it's more of like like calling him back from the grave, like the warrior of the past style.
Mm-hmm.
But this game, they're like, we still love our boy Oda, so we're gonna have young Oda, and we're gonna cast an English voice actor that has way too deep of a voice that maybe needs to calm down on the gravel just a little bit. I digress. Let's go to the hut.
Okay, hut.
Here's our wonderful little hut. We have our storehouse. If you just want to have different sets, you can just save them and you can name them, and then it saves everything. It's great. It's equipment sets. Mm-hmm. The illustrations, the yokai illustrations is the one that I was looking for. So this is just your generic, gives you some actual. There's the Scampus. Look at this guy. Look at this guy. Look at this guy.
Oh my, he's got a butthole.
He's got a little butt.
He's like a kitten mixed with
he's like a luck. It's like a luck cat. It's like actually kind of like a pug kitten.
He's a rabbit with a cat. You mixed them together.
So you find these guys in the missions and you pet them, and the petting animation, by the way, is mwah.
Okay.
I'm just trying to make the proper sound. I don't think it comes through. So just imagine.
So cute.
And it follows you around and just makes you lucky or something. I don't know what it does. I always want to have them around because they're adorable. But I mean, yes, this also, you go through all of the different enemies you come upon and gives you actual history of them, and you can just kind of look at the cool character models and whatnot.
Nice.
There's a little Kappa, naturally.
Yeah, of course.
Kappa in the game, of course. Your zombies. Let's see. We'll just check out the Yamanba. Oh, that was one of the new enemies, the little knife guy.
Yeah.
Onibaba.
Hmm.
And then this the Nura Ona, which is wet woman according to its literal name. Is one of these spirit cores that we got.
Right.
Although technically, I think that maybe we didn't get them because we left early. I'm not sure. It doesn't really matter. You get those all the time.
What's the little skull,
and then of course you can just look at your. That's a Sudama, so we can do that through the visitation and the remodeling. And I don't have any of these other things yet, but I'm very excited just to get this thing looking nice instead of kind of, let's say, homely at the moment.
It looks very rustic.
You do some side missions that you can just load in some of your spirit guardians as little Sudama here. So the Sudama is a Dark Realm version of Kodama.
Okay.
Which are the little shrine spirits.
Okay.
They're just little guys. They're just like little scamps. And you find them in the dark zones. And like in the first game, you don't have to fight everything. So you can just like leave items on the ground and they'll scamper up to it and be like, say something in their indecipherable language. A bunch of glyphs appear at the bottom of the screen. Like, and just drop a bunch of items for you and peace out. Unless it's sacred water. Then they blast you with lightning. Because apparently they're not into that. And I when that happened, I was like, it's fair. It's totally fair. I get it.
Deserve that.
That was on me. It was on me. We can transformations were also in the first game. It's where you'd get, you can just look as literally as character model swaps for the human characters in the game. So NiOh 1 main character here. Right. Because I have the save file for it. Here's something that should be in every video game, David.
Okay.
There's a menu option that takes you to character creation.
Oh. And it doesn't like cost a weird resource or...
it's not, you don't have like a weird thing you have to collect. You just go back and then you're in character creator mode again. And you're like, cool. That's kind of what I want. Because I was like, you start a new game and you look at it and you're like, do I want to be a cool lady, which usually has like better hair options, honestly, or do you want to be like a cool dude, which usually has like good, sort of beard, facial hair options, right? Broadly speaking, that's sort of the way things are divided up. This game doesn't care. Everything for everyone.
Okay.
And at any time, you just be like, "Oh, I'm just load in my usuals." We got a little Ava here, as gotta have your fire user, your red-headed fire user, right? Natch. But I was like, you know what? I'm gonna have some other characters that I don't usually get to put in my games, like Udomo LeBranche. Abyssal Watcher for my stories. Yeah. I was like, okay, kind of have like a little Idris Elba flavor.
Yeah.
Let's throw in a little blonde Kalen, although he ends up kind of looking a lot just like a mixture between William and Geralt of Rivia. So I was like, you know what? That's perfectly fine. Yeah. And I was like, you know what? For this new mission, we're in a new zone. I want a new character. I was like, let's try out the slightly wavy hair, sort of subtly wavy hair things. I was like, okay, but we can just. I will say that. It does have a bust slider, which applies to men and women, although you can't technically have boobs on dudes. I'm just saying.
Aw.
I will say that for the dudes, the rip. I have to show the rippedness level of the characters, which I think is maybe a set. Let's say the default is set a bit high.
Okay.
Let's go over to base. I think it's just in body. So yes, so let's turn the muscle definition to 0. Yes, of course.
Oh my gosh!
And it goes up from there.
He's just dehydrated. That's what that is.
That was just.
What happens if you make the chest size huge on a dude?
It's not as noticeable, but you do get a little bit. Okay, it's a little bit. It's a little bit of a change there. It's not so much. The let's say the chest size for women is a little bit more noticeable, as you might expect from a video game, right? But I thought that was kind of hilarious. Like, no, this is as unripped as your character can be. I was like, all right, that's fair enough. But then I realized, because this game has UI options for everything, there's an OK button down there. Right? What do you think OK does? What does OK mean to you?
Do it?
You think it just confirms the selection?
Right.
But then you see that there's not OK button for all of these.
Oh, huh.
So when you're on body marking, you press the X button, and
there's a sub menu.
I was like, oh, there's a sub menu. Why would there be a sub menu? Oh, of course, for this one, it's just you can put tats, and you can, of course, you can scale them to ridiculous degrees. No middle sliders. As is tradition.
Right.
But that means that you can change the muscle definition per body zone. So you can have just like a totally ripped chest, but like otherwise,
I mean, still
skipped
strong
arm
arm.
and leg day.
You're only like 1/5
Legs
dehydrated.
only. Legs only.
Oh my goodness.
There's options for everything. It's great. Return to HUD with a change of appearance. Actually, we'll just go with the Duo for now. Finalize. And you can just do that whenever you want on the world map. And I was like, oh, very good. And you can upload the character codes, download character codes. People make things. People look like other characters and whatnot.
Right.
And that's just. I mean, I was just like, oh, that's actually great. That should be in all video games.
That's like a level of character creation you'd expect from like a WWE game.
Or like a Korean MMO.
Yeah, that's true. That's the other touch point.
Yeah, that's the other one.
Welcome.
We of course have tons of menus in our girl Toyo.
Oh yeah.
This is as it was. You can special finds and then weapons, and you can buy the weapons. But if you don't want to buy the weapons, you can forge the weapons, and you can get new things to forge new weapons. And then the percentage of rarity depends on the required materials that you have. But if you want materials, you can disassemble them here. But then if you want to make better materials, you can forge better materials by taking the smithing materials and upgrading them. So you get the purples, because you want the purples, because it's a video game, David.
Right.
But you can also soul match, and this is where you can take things with max familiarity and infuse them into other things for exorbitant costs, and it's something you should never do until the end game, because you get loot by the hundreds of thousands.
Right, I remember that in the last game.
Yes, that is still true. You got refashioning for all of your armor, so you can just, transmog it to look like anything you want, and then tempering, I think this might be new. This is another thing that's just great, where you can just take let's see, what was I using? Okay, like this as an example. The matchlock rifle I'm using here. I can just use some umbracite, which I get from breaking down stuff I don't use, and I can just make this, I can just change out the special effect. Now, what do you think would happen if I pick this and then select it and then go through the whole thing? What do you think would happen?
It'll do the thing?
Okay, I'm not quite getting my point across. That's all right. What I'm saying is that I assume that it would pick one of those three abilities to replace it with.
Right.
And that you're like, okay, here's the three that it'll pick from.
Right. Yeah.
But it's three that you can pick from.
Oh.
I was just like, what? Why would you give me choices in a video game?
Why wouldn't you make it just a horrible, awful grind?
Yeah, like this one, it's like rifle damage. I can just get more rifle damage. That number can go up, David.
Wow.
I can just make that number go up.
You did it.
I did it. And the number went up.
Can you keep making
matter?
the number go up?
Oh, no, not exactly, because it just happened that the rifle damage bonus for the tempered version was better than the base version.
Okay.
So it's not that I'm continuously improving this. But does that matter? Not really. 1% extra damage for the matchlock, which can almost always instant kill on a headshot, because the headshot damage is like 20x damage or something.
Right.
That doesn't really matter. But I like seeing numbers go up.
Yes.
Come by again.
So we'll step out of that for a second here. So there's the Torii Gate. This is how you do co-op. Random encounters is just like it was in the first game, where you can choose things that you've already done and you can search for them specifically. You can do with password matching. Expedition mode, which actually was in the first game, but I don't remember if it was in the base game or if it was added during the expansions. But this is like the made for 3-player co-op mode, where everyone starts at the beginning and you have a gauge, which is your shared life bar. You can revive people, but as people die, the gauge goes down. So realistically, you're looking at, for 3 people playing through a mission, only being able to go down maybe 3 times, as long as you're really quick on the revives, before the gauge goes down and you fail and you start all the way over.
Oh.
So this mode is actually very difficult, because it also includes tons of extra monsters.
Yeah.
And the game is hard, and people are not very good at not dying, including me. So I get it.
Yeah.
They'll be like, there's 3 of us, and there's this one dude. It's fine, and he does a sweeping attack, and it chips your health, and you're dead, and then the gauge is gone, and you're like, I'm sad now. Huh. And there's also, of course, the Twilight missions, which change at 11 p.m. every night, based on the main missions, and these are just the extra hard versions of the missions,
right?
That you can run through. Harder bosses. I assume more enemies. Maybe the enemy placement is closer to the expedition mode. But yeah, I think I'm done talking about NiOh 2 for now.
Maybe.
The one tip for when you're playing multiplayer, you'll see I've had go to my equipment here. I have. I didn't play that long, but let's say you beat a mission. These things are going to be absolutely filled with equipment. You know, you have maybe a page, 2 pages of weapons, 2 pages of armor for each of these. Do not go into your menu during the mission. The 0.7% bonus to break damage on mid-stance does not matter. Your ability to read your opponent and key pulse at the proper time and elixir when you're out of range is much more important than that 0.2% damage bonus. You're wasting everyone's time, because what's going to happen is the summoner's going to get out of that menu and he's be like, I have a cool new weapon. I'm going to go try it out on this. I'm dead. And the whole thing is canceled. And I go back to the main menu. I'm just like, I can only do so much for you.
Right.
So don't find a Vista. I wonder if I can get
right.
a good Vista. I can get into...
So like a thing in the dojo, or...
Okay, yes, training ground. I will not spawn in any enemies at the moment. We'll just kind of hang out.
It's the same training ground from the first game.
Yeah. Unleash the Emerita.
Well, if you have
dodge. I can also do a charge attack.
Are your weapons based on what you have selected?
No, the yokai ship form, as far as I know, only has the type of weapon that it has.
Okay.
But hey, you know what? If they say oh, actually, high stance has different moves, I wouldn't necessarily doubt you.
Right. Well,
go monkey.
If you have enjoyed this and the other things we make, please feel free to support us on Patreon. We have a couple tiers there. Like, comment, subscribe, do the YouTube stuff. Doing all of those things, support us directly or support us immediately, and we'd love making this stuff for you, and any of those things makes it a lot easier to do.
NiOh 2.
You took my subtitle.
I did. Now I'm going to cut the camera.
Okay.